Now, here is a really interesting article that I came across called The Invisible Workload of Motherhood is Killing Me by Erin Pepler, and it's on Scary Mommy. And she writes about the invisible workload of motherhood that it's the things that we do for our families that are necessary, but they go completely unnoticed. It's that endless list of small tasks that would only ever draw attention if they didn't happen. And also the mental preparedness of being able to do all of these things, because it's one thing to drop your kids off at school. That's one task, but you almost tend to forget everything that happens before that action. For example, getting your kids to brush their teeth, making sure that the clothes are washed and ready to be put on, making sure that your children have proper lunches and snacks and all of that. So there's so much more that so much more than simply doing the chores, everything that goes behind it. Like, for example, cooking dinner. Well, meal planning can be a big issue, and making sure that you have all the groceries that you need. And making the list even is another item that we, forget to add to our to-do list. It's, and like the author says, it's noticing that maple syrup is spilled in the back of the fridge and silently cleaning it up, or tossing out an old salad dressing. I mean, these are things that we are constantly doing, picking things up, putting things away, cleaning up after ourselves, preparing for the next day. It's a long, long list of things. And it's also, for me, a lot of it too, it's not even the everyday tasks. It's also planning for the other things, like registration for soccer, or having to help your child pick out courses for the following year, or sending in that check for the for the field trip. All of these other things that we tend to squeeze in on top of work and all of the other regular household chores. Even just thinking about hosting a birthday party can be just add to the list of to-dos. For me, one big thing, it always throws me off every year, and I always say that I'm going to be prepared for it, is tax time, putting receipts together and making spreadsheets and doing all of that. It's like, after that, it's like, okay, I got to register the kids again for hockey, and then putting that all together, the forms and signing off on things. And, if you want to take a trip, it's not just planning for the trip, it's the passports and the making sure that you have all your documentation in order. There's all these extra things that you tend to forget about. And it's all those little tiny things that add up and that cause that mental overload. And for me also, that really peaks in summertime when the kids are home and trying to, with camps and activities and keeping them busy. It tends to reach a peak, and it also reaches a huge peak at Christmas time because of the decorations and shopping and hosting and baking and all of those things that just pile on top of everything else that we have to do. So yeah, I totally agree with that article. There's just so much. And that's why we always need to have a timeout